That's quite a long time
Yeah,
to initiate.
yeah. It has finished initializing. My name is Adeja Adebowale, and see me today. I'm on Celtic jersey. I don't know what Kashi is doing as a matter of fact, but I really
It's a beautiful cold.
don't.
It's a beautiful cold day in Montreal, and I'm trying to stay warm as we prepare to finally win the Grey Cup for the first time since 2010 for Montreal Alouettes. I know I promised I was going to be in Hamilton, Ontario today. Family requirements, family demands made sure that didn't happen. But that doesn't mean we're not rooting for our team. I know Debo didn't make the usual intro to segue to me, but always great being here as we discuss all things sports. We never take it for granted that you are sharing this journey with us. Stay tuned for a good one.
All right, perfect. But you guys are not going to win anyways. So I want to start. I want to start that with perfect. So it's not really perfect. You guys are not going to win. We'll be jumping around, bouncing around, but I know most people want to listen to football first before we move to other sports. We have so much on basketball today. We have just a little on tennis as well. But we'll start with football. And I know this is something we don't really do here on Most Instanta Sport. We don't really talk about Nigerian football and whatnot. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Nigerian football and the fact that Nigeria played a 1-1 draw at their backyard against Lesotho and traveled to Zimbabwe and played a 1-1 draw as well. And this could have been avoided. But no thanks to the goalkeeper that we've been insistent on using for the past 1 or 2 years. And I ask people, everybody that gets to listen, that yo, are you telling me we don't have a better goalkeeper in the Nigerian league? We had Vincent Yama come out of the Nigerian league from Enyimba to go to the World Cup in 2002. We had Dele Ayenuba. We had something like Jiboye that went ahead to win. I think 20 under 20 or under 17 World Cup for us at one point or the other. And I'm looking at this result, and it has been a disaster every time he came for Nigeria. A disaster through and through. And the last time he went on Twitter to say, although he eventually came out to apologize, but he went on Twitter to say, and the key for Ebo, if he easy, you say now. You know, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this kid, man? And maybe I should not even call him kid. Maybe he's probably older than me, but at least on paper I'm older than him. I can't be less than 10 years older than him. So on paper, I'm his brother. I'm his elder brother. What exactly is the problem, Kati? Because are we going to boil this down to corruption as well, or our coach is just blind not to see that this guy is not worse wearing a jersey ever?
Debo, it's a myriad of problems. It's just not one direction, or you can't specifically just pinpoint a single issue as the issue behind this goalkeeping melee that the Nigeria Super Eagles are currently facing. The first is it boils down to what we have in the grassroots. We have nothing in the grassroots in terms of development, players' development, goalkeeping, nothing. Right now, anything working in the grassroots is entirely 100% private football academies. And these people, which would also segue into the second problem, these private football academies are only looking for a specific type of player or players. It is midfield and strikers. No one wants to spend money trying to find hidden goalkeeping talents. And that is, like I said, segues to the second problem, which is we have over-glorified the attacking position in African football, in Nigerian football especially, where the names, you can probably only have two names in goalkeeping that you mention to any Nigerian and they will go, oh yes, really good. Peter Rufai and Vincent Enyama. Every other person, from Wilfred Agbonivare to just name them, Ike Shorumu, to
Uh-huh.
Josu Joseph, Dele Ayenuba, the other goalkeeper that we used to call the Flying Spider-Man, whatever his name was then, the fat guy who was supposed to be
Barua.
our number, Barua, name them. None of these people were lauded, so to speak, by the Nigerian footballing world. So the first thing for me primarily is the fact that we are not spending the money where we should spend it, which is in development talent, of talent across the 11 positions on the pitch. The second is the fact that even those people who have picked up interest that they want to play football right now, nobody wants to be the goalkeeper. Therefore, you have experience. We played amateur soccer, street football growing up.
Uh-huh.
We always put the fattest kid as the goalkeeper. It is not a glorified position. So that's number two. Number three is the direct ineptitude of those running Nigerian football now, starting from Amaju Pinnick, if he's still there, and his choice of Pinerio or whatever his name is as the coach of this team. Now I don't know whatever antecedents or whatever agreements they have with him. We also don't know who benefits from having Uzoho continuously man the post in Nigeria. I don't know who is benefiting from it.
Like,
But
I don't understand.
this is just three out of several issues I can name for you. Right now, we have a coaching issue, we have an administration issue, we have an interest issue, and then we have a developmental issue surrounding Nigerian football right now. You call it our attackers are making waves around European football simply because you can be born with natural attacker ability and
Mhm.
develop it without necessarily going through an academy. Goalkeeping has to be taught. You hardly hear someone say, "Oh, when I was growing up, all I wanted to be was a
Was it
goalkeeper."
the
No,
goalkeeper?
let's not deceive ourselves. You
Yeah.
hardly hear it. Most goalkeepers we know, from the Buffons to the Casillas and all that, stumbled onto goalkeeping by
Yeah.
accident. But there were tools available, and they had seen that, hey, look, a goalkeeper can be the highest paid player in the world. There was a time when Gigi Buffon went for 35 million euros. No other outfield player could match that money. But
Mm-hmm.
Buffon had longevity. And also, another issue, now that I mentioned it, is the issue of age. All these guys, we had players come in, they played on us. The goalkeeper that was in the, I think it was Japan, I can't remember the tournament that the Nigerian under 17 won in penalties against Spain. In the post then I believe, was a young David De Gea.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
is his contemporary for Nigeria now if he was a true 17-year-old? Or is it the next one that won during Kelechi Iheanacho's excuse me,
Time. Yeah.
Kelechi Iheanacho's tournament? Where are they now? So a whole lot of these people were playing at their prime when they claim to be under 17.
That's everything.
That's why they fizzle out now. So you see that if we sit here and try to dissect the issue with Nigeria, we will probably not discuss any other thing. But it cuts across several factors, and the time has come for us to start calling people out right now.
Yeah, all right, perfect. But it's about time we start calling people out, and I hope people will be able to stand up and be counted and ensure that these things change. And like you rightly said, there's a couple of things that needs to be revamped. Number one about it is the administration. Administration goes to players' welfare and whatnot. And now that you mentioned it, I was watching the podcast of Alan Shearer, Mika Richards, and
Gary Lineker.
America, and they were saying, see, when they play for England, that any money that they receive from the English national team, is that it actually goes to charity, so they don't actually get paid. They get paid, but they don't receive that payment. They donate to charity. And that's one thing that Nigerian players would not do for the Nigerian national team. So these are things that need to be, and I'm not going to blame them. I'm not blaming the Nigerian guys because
Mm-hmm.
imagine Sonny Keita that was with Canopy last time when Keshi won the Nations Cup with Nigeria, and he needs the money. He's not going to throw 10 million naira on the floor or to a charity when
Mm-hmm.
he himself is a charity that needs the money.
Yeah, that
You
needs
understand what
help.
I'm saying? Yeah,
Sunday
that
back
needs help.
then. Yeah.
Sunday in bar, and also some other guys like that. So those are the kind of things that we need to look at. So administratively, it needs to be sound. And still on Nigeria, and I'll take you around this one. I know this is not something that we are supposed to discuss, but still on Nigeria, I want to bring up the podcast of John Mikel Obi with
Yeah.
the Ofedi
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
where Mikel said, um, once you're a superstar, it becomes difficult, and they start threatening you, and they call you out, and they're going to go to the press for
Mm-hmm.
it. And people have come for and against John Mikel Obi
Mm-hmm.
over that. And this is something that you will be able to resonate with because you don't live in Nigeria. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people that calculate your salary for you
Mm-hmm.
based on, oh, it's in Canada, let's multiply it by 700 naira or 800 naira.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Mm-hmm.
get something that's catchy. And they do it a lot. And we see that. On the flip side, you see someone like Sadio Mane that says, my money does not belong to me, it belongs to the entire my community. But I was reading something from the agent of Mo Salah, and he said Mo Salah gets so many letters, so many emails. Everybody wants Mo Salah to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in Egypt, just because it's Mo Salah. But we forget that football is just for a while.
Yeah.
Mikel Obi is not playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mikel is 1987. So Mikel is not even 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be 40 years old until maybe 2027.
The next 4 years or thereabouts. Yeah.
Imagine he now blows his own earnings trying to be the hero or trying to help people.
Mm-hmm.
What's he going to fall back on? You see people like Wilson Roma in Abuja roaming around like a mad person,
Mm-hmm.
and we see so many of them, so many ex-footballers, Jonathan Akpobore, so many of them that can't even take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's because when they were making the money, people were taking it away from them.
Absolutely.
Amongst other things. But I just want to know, and that's my own opinion. I want to know your own opinion about this I don't know, self-entitlement from our people.
Debo, you have hit the nail on the head. I personally agree with everything John Mikel Obi or John Mikel Obi said. I guess for me, the only thing I have an issue with is the audience with which he was expressing that. If this was expressed to an African audience, it probably would resonate better and people will understand where he is coming from. I guess that is only the issue. The message is true. The messenger is right. It's the avenue with which the message was passed that I have an issue with. From all walks of life, and I think this is predominantly a third world issue. This is not just Africa. It's happening in North America. It's happening in the United States. There is a statistics that says that basketball players, 95% of basketball players go totally broke before 5 years after retirement. Why? Because they could not say no to friends, to families, to people coming with bogus business ideas simply because they know this guy, to people who were not part of his development but just grew up on the same street as he was, and so they just feel, I know him, he knows me. Do you understand? So it is not a Nigerian specific issue. It is an issue that permeates every walk of life. So what Mikel said is not wrong. How Sadio Mane chooses to run his own money and all that, and you don't look into a man's pocket, and it's an issue that we have in Nigeria because personally, I mean, it's something that, and like you mentioned, it definitely resonates with me. I have people who, just because we grew up on the same street together, people who didn't write the exams with me, people who didn't know how I managed to find myself here, who just tell me, even this was not even living abroad, while we were still in Nigeria, just because their life has taken a different path from your life, they feel entitled because they saw you when you were all kicking tires and playing street soccer. So the
soccer.
issue should not be, Mikelobi should not be knocked for saying what has been on the mind of everyone. It has been there. There's just an unhealthy entitlement that most Africans and friends of these sports stars, not necessarily sports, friends of people who seem successful in life, just have an entitlement to. I just feel you don't wash your dirty linen outside. If Mikelobi had come to a DSTV and and something in South Africa and
Yeah,
said that,
yeah,
it will resonate. Now
very.
you are saying it to people who already have a mindset of Africans.
Mindset, yeah,
And then you are giving them more ammunition to continue to deride
against,
Africans. That
yeah,
is the only issue I have. But I wish him well. I mean, we're in the age of social media now, where everybody wants something. Someone has an accident, is recording it because he's hoping that one day somebody will say, "Send me your bank account, let me send you money so that you can treat yourself," so that they can stop working. Nobody wants to work, but they want to enjoy the benefit of someone else working. That
mm,
is shameful, but it is the harsh reality of what we face in Africa, not just in Nigeria. I personally agree with him. I just think going to a foreign media to address it should
to
not have been
address
the
that.
right way to do it.
That was the wrong thing. Okay, perfect. And I kind of agree with you. Maybe the audience were in the audience because they will resonate, but they could resonate because that was Ferdinand. Don't forget, Ferdinand grew up at
In
the
Peckham,
east
I
side,
know,
yeah,
south side of London. I
yeah,
agree, but
where they have
no
that,
matter what Ferdinand has experienced growing up, it
yeah,
cannot. I mean, we're talking of a country right now, 240 million people, and maybe 230 million people are living below $1 a day.
yeah. Uh, totally agree with you. From there we move to the self-acclaimed best striker in the whole wide world and self-acclaimed best creative midfielder in the whole of England that could not take their country to the Euros. It's not an easy task for them, if you ask me. Both of them are kids, as a matter of fact, and they will have the opportunity of learning. This is going to be a learning
Hmm.
curve for them. For them,
Hmm.
Leonard and Odegaard could not
Hmm.
take that into the Euros. And there was a meme all across Twitter where people say, "Oh, Scott McTominay could take Scotland to the Euros. How
Yeah.
come Haaland and Odegaard could not do that?" Your view about these two guys, and
Uh,
do you think we're gonna be seeing them at future tournaments, or it's going to be a two lost guys with some everything?
no, I definitely think we'll see them in future tournaments. I mean, the European quota for major tournaments is so much that they will finally break through. The Scotland we're talking about now, let's not forget that they also at some point did not used to make tournaments until
Yeah,
now. They are going to be in back-to-back Euros. So I think these guys are young. I don't agree with the self-proclaimed because I'm pretty sure they did not proclaim themselves that. Yes, they will feel disappointed, especially with Haaland also picking up an injury, which might sideline him for a couple of weeks. It will feel disappointing. But like I
yeah,
said, they have too many tournaments that would help them pack on the experience that they need. So they should feel disappointed. It should be something that eats at the back of their mind, but helps motivate them. But they still have a lot of time on their hand. Let's not be
and
so
then
quick. Let's not be so quick to hang
it
them
is
out to dry.
so that game is dry. Anyways, Martin Odegaard could be available for us now. Over the next over the next couple of days.
Hmm.
Is regards to their match against Brentford, and of course, Allen Ireland had a foot injury, so he did not play against Scotland when they played the 3-3 draw sometime today. But of course, news that being monitored on News Instance Sports is telling us right now that Ireland would be available for the next fixture for
Sounds good.
Manchester City. And this is a terrific one as well. This boy has scored 46 goals for France right now, closely behind
Olivier
Antoine
Giroud.
Griezmann and Thierry Henry, and of course Joe. We know he's definitely going to break that record. He's the highest goal scorer in the history of PSG. He moved for a world record for a teenager from Monaco to PSG. We're talking about no other person but Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe is racing away in the French league. This is a talent that should not be playing that kind of league. I tell you, we could eventually have another Harry Kane that we all know. Okay, this guy is good enough, but
Hmm.
he's just racing away somewhere.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and even when Kane left, he left for another farmers league. So sometimes this will come back. Honestly, this will come back to taunt Kane. Maybe unless bar if he wins the Champions League or he wins a major trophy with the English national team. Um, Honestly, where will you want Mbappe to end up? Liverpool definitely cannot afford him.
Hmm.
Probably Manchester City can afford him. Arsenal cannot afford him. Manchester United is in crisis. Real Madrid looks disinterested right now. They looks deluded when it comes to Mbappe. Then if you do, then if you don't. Barcelona definitely, unless they want to sell the whole of their team to get Mbappe. That leaves you basically with Real Madrid that are delusional
Hmm.
right now.
Hmm.
Um, Manchester City and Liverpool that will need to sell major stars to be able to
Right.
afford wages. Where do you think the guy is going to end up? Because staying at PSG is just a no-no for me.
Uh, First of all, let's say congratulations to him for hitting. I think he just scored. He scored his 300th professional
Career
goal over the weekend. That is not an easy feat. You can count the number
goal.
of players who can say they have over 300 goals scored in their career. So amazing feat. But that is also bound to happen. We can't use the same analogy for Cristiano Ronaldo and not use the same analogy for him. It is
Yes.
bound to happen when in Europe you play Gibraltar every 3 weeks and you can score a hat trick almost every other time. This one, I'm not even going to say no offense to Gibraltar. Offense to Gibraltar. The reason why we are crying wolf or foul for Nigeria now is
Yeah.
because Lesotho is ranked 153 and should have been dealt with accordingly. There's a way you treat teams that are far below you in soccer. You let them know their place. So I'm not going to knock France for doing what they needed to do. And I'm also not going to pity Gibraltar for collecting what they need to collect. So that aside, big congratulations to Mbappe for achieving that milestone. Now to the future of Mbappe, it has become so clear that Project PSG is not the project for him. But similar to, see, there are some players or there are some teams or players go to certain clubs and they'll tell you, oh, it has always been my dream to play for Manchester United. I believe there are 4 clubs, maybe maximum 5, that young players truly, truly dream of playing for. It is Real Madrid number 1. It is
Yeah.
maybe Barcelona number 2, United number 3, maybe Arsenal a distant 4. Maybe, I'm not saying. And probably Chelsea in the last 15, 20 years. Because under the Roman Abramovich, 2004 until date, Chelsea
Uh-huh.
became a global powerhouse.
Yes.
So, that being said, Mbappe has a personal desire to play for Madrid. I think that's why Florentino Perez is cooling it down, saying, hey, look, we will let his ambition be the deciding factor now. No longer us chasing him. It was ambition that brought Cristiano Ronaldo to Madrid. It was ambition
Oh,
that brought Gareth Bale to Madrid.
yeah,
Ambition made Michael Owen, right after winning the Ballon d'Or, to move to Madrid, even though it never panned out. So
yeah.
players have preferences. So I think Madrid ultimately becomes it because if he goes to Manchester City, it it will have to be a straight swap. It will be because Erling Haaland is moving to Real Madrid,
He's moving to Real Madrid.
to Madrid, not to any other club. If Mbappe goes to City, it will be because Haaland is moving to Madrid. So I think
Yeah,
he goes to Madrid to see out his career, to win those things. Because even L'Equipe, which is the French sports football magazine, will
yeah.
struggle so hard to justify giving a Ballon d'Or to a player playing in La Liga, in League
On
On.
French fee.
They will struggle. So he knows he has to leave if he stand any chance of potentially snatching one or two of those golden balls.
They gave it to the midget.
Well, it was deserving, I guess. If you win the World Cup with four penalties, you probably win
No,
the
no,
you win
no,
the
no, 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 no. That's worse. He won that at in MLS. He won one at PSG before the World Cup. So midget is an exception, anyways. Don't let's dive into that. So basically, you're saying it's going to be a Real Madrid
Yeah,
thing for Kylian Mbappe.
I
Well,
totally believe so.
I totally hope that pans out for Mbappe because he's a prodigious talent. He's probably the best striker in the whole wide world right now.
Mhm, mhm.
I can't even call him okay, whatever. I, I don't want to call him a striker, but he's probably the best striker in the whole
Forward
wide world.
player is the best
Forward,
forward player
yes,
right now.
exactly. Thanks for that. Thanks for that analogy. And of course, moving to a more situation like scenario that we have in England right now, and it's the fact that Everton has been docked 10 points
Hmm,
for overspending 2 days ago.
hmm.
And as of yesterday, Everton are potentially going to be docked another 9 points and move into administration as it stands today. And that's because Burnley, Leeds United, and Leicester City are suing them that they were relegated because Everton overspent. And that means Everton will have to pay each of those clubs £100 million. Oh my God. In week four for those three clubs, and it's not a palatable situation right now. You
Mhm.
look at it, 777 just bought everything, and the agreement is they are going to spend £20 million on a monthly basis, trying to
Mhm.
take care of everything. £40 million will be going towards paying penalties and compensations, and those will go towards their equity as well.
Mhm.
I don't know what the modalities of the contracts are. But if this situation keeps on like this, we'll probably see a situation where 777 will pull out and everything will go into administration. And this is what we need to be careful about when it comes to teams like this. The new owners coming around saying, promising heaven and earth and
Mhm.
whatnot. And the most annoying thing is, what did Everton overspent on?
That is what I've been trying to wrap my head around, Debo, to say, okay, who and where did they actually overspend?
Like
And I'm
Alex, Alex,
struggling.
Alex, Alex Iwobi kind of
I'm
player,
struggling.
Jordan Pickford.
Calvert Lewin. For me, this yes, I always want to, and maybe it's just the accountant in me, but I always think the very first move is not the move we should be looking at. I think that what we are seeing in Everton is a harbinger of what will potentially happen to City. I think it's a case of we are not going to hit City first so that they don't think this is a case of witch hunting. Because the question I've asked myself is where where did they overspend? Number one. Number two, the timing is also an issue. They had to wait until I think their owner recently passed away.
Yeah,
I think the Everton owner recently passed. Probably this is the news they've had, and they were like, okay, we'll wait until let's not be the one to give the owner a heart attack or whatever. But I definitely think this punishment suggests that Manchester City could face severe sanctions, because this is the same precedent. If we're saying Everton overspend and we're struggling to understand how much they overspend by and who they spend that money on while not playing any European tournaments, then you have laid a precedent to just hammer down on Manchester City.
On
So,
City and
uh,
Chelsea.
yeah, if your question, if I may preempt you, is this a justifiable punishment? To be honest, my honest answer is I don't know, because I don't even know what they overspent on. Is it to bring in Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Is it? I'm struggling to wrap my head around Everton suffering this fate. I thought the whole thing ended with the 10-point deduction that has moved them to 19th on the table right now. A further 9-point deduction, and potentially moving into administration, I think is double whammy. They're just beating an already falling horse, and they should just let that horse try and get itself back up. For Burnley and the other teams, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. I think it should be only one team that should have an issue, and that was the team. I can't remember the name of that team now. 2 seasons ago, when Everton secured survival on the last day of the league.
Okay.
Beyond that, so the team they beat directly to 18th position is the team from 2 seasons ago. Is the only team that probably has legal standing to seek for uh,
Redress.
resolution or something. But I come back to that same stance. Where did Everton overspend this money? And if indeed they are putting this on Everton, then maybe Erling Haaland to Real Madrid will be happening sooner than we thought.
Anyways, it's a fantastic one if you ask me, and very very dicey. I'm looking at it. I see them. They bought players like Onana. They bought players like Alex Iwobi, Richard Allison. A host of other guys. But these guys don't look so expensive. If you ask me, they don't look so
So
expensive. They don't look so expensive.
maybe it's a fault of mine. Maybe I should take responsibility for not going to get all the facts before coming on air to discuss this, because I'm
They're not
struggling.
so. I don't think those guys were too expensive.
Come
And
on.
if what they are telling them to do is for me it does not make sense. It really does not make sense.
It
I
doesn't.
mean, let's
I
see, was
totally agree.
23.5 million. Nathan Patterson,
I
uh,
mean, they didn't. Did they have did they have um did they make like a severe expenses to renovate their stadium? For me, it's all about profitability, not necessarily about the
mm,
what they spent. Okay,
and
I'm trying to get some facts that I can put up here. It
okay,
said for the period under review, the Premier League
yeah,
is arguing that um, Everton recorded a loss of about $155 million, which exceeded the threshold of $105 million loss permitted by the
mm,
PSR. And
uh,
that they've shown a fifth straight year of losses, and that their losses have totaled over £430 million. So
okay, that
they are
that means
not
they've not been gaining enough revenue while
by
spending.
spending so much. It's not
It's a
really
less,
because they
it's a less issue.
overspent.
Yeah,
They are just not
it's a
making
less,
enough.
yeah, it's a
So
less issue. Anyways, Chelsea City on their own part, they falsified wages of their coaches, paid above threshold. They, amongst other things, they have issue of having overspent as well.
mhm,
Chelsea, and I don't know if you read the article that I posted on the WhatsApp group today, have a little bit of issue with what Roman Abramovich did, where he holds top party interest in players and pay them
mhm.
peanuts. I'm wondering, I don't want to believe the article. I don't want to believe the article, honestly. But if the article is true, I would be definitely surprised. But because I don't think Roman is that kind of person.
I don't think so either.
I don't think
Well,
so.
you never know what is in the heart of man, but it would have come out sooner, much earlier than now. And allow me, it would have probably come out much earlier than now if this that story is to be believed. The
Hmm.
timing is always suspect, but we'll wait to see more. I would rather not comment on it until it becomes factual,
Exactly.
and then
Exactly.
we can ask
Exactly.
ourselves that. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyways, from there we'll move to a little bit of basketball right now, and we're going to be starting with the guy that looks like Oracle Kachi, and his name is Draymond Green. Draymond
He's
Green
my
is a
brother. He should go and do his ancestry. He will find out he's 100% Nigerian, like Shannon Sharp.
honestly, Draymond was over the edge against the Minnesota Timberwolves,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken. What happened? I know. I wish Olawale was here. Olawale was trying to pin down on Clay Thompson. Clay was not in any way form of fashion duty. It was just a tug and pull. The other guy took it overboard, tore Clay's jersey, and unfortunately for Rudy Gobert, I don't know what from the video. I can't tell you exactly what was running through the mind of Rudy Gobert. Can't tell you for a fact. Maybe Rudy was just trying to clear the path and hold Clay
Mhm.
off. Maybe he was trying to choke Clay as well.
Mhm.
But Draymond definitely took that in a different light. Like he wanted to choke his teammates and he went
Mhm.
for the choke slam on Rudy Gobert. Went all WWE on Rudy Gobert. Uh, and now Rudy is I said Rudy Draymond has been fined for 5 games, suspension for 5 games. And Shaq O'Neal came out to say, "Yo, I feel Draymond, you people don't understand the emotions while on the court." So Shaq
Mhm.
came out in defense of Draymond Green. Charles Barkley definitely did not come out, but I'm not going to take anybody that does not have any ring on their finger seriously.
Come
Uh,
on, don't do that. He's a top 75 player,
That's on five player.
He's an Olympic gold medalist.
Oh my God! So what do you call Kyrie? Please. Anyways, I'm not going to take him so seriously. If you ask me, you know how I feel about Charles Barkley. Just the same way you don't like James Harden. That's the same way I don't like Charles Barkley. Um, what's your own stand? Do you think the emotion that Draymond showed is right? I feel he has overdone this. I think this is third time or fourth time in his career that he's been rejected, if I'm not mistaken. We also saw what he did to the young kid last season, Jordan Poole, because of the
Mhm.
arguments. It looks a little bit too aggressive for me, and I feel the 5 match suspension is not enough deterrent for him to repeat this.
Um, a bit of stats. Draymond has lost a total of $1.4 million to fines and suspensions since he's joined the NBA.
Oh wow,
Um,
wow,
uh, but this is my personal thought. Um, this is not me condoning, violence, uh, especially between adults who are multi-millionaires playing the sports at the highest level.
uh-huh.
But we also need to understand that emotions run wild.
Yeah,
And for me, this is one thing that Adam Silver will sit down and he will just be like this. That this is why we introduced the in-season tournament, because
tournament.
I don't think we would have had this type of emotional outburst if it was just game 6 of 82 games in the schedule. You
Yeah.
know, so all that to say, I am all for the enforcer of my team, the heart and soul of my team,
Yeah.
being there for me when there is a skirmish on the court. I am all for it. Ideally, when skirmishes like that happen, what they suggest is when you go in there to de-escalate, try
Uh-huh.
not to touch the other team's player. In other words, Rudy should have gone
Made
in
it.
and tried to pull his players
teammates
from that skirmish as against trying to put his hand
on Clay.
on Clay. That's number one. Number two, we already had bad blood stewing because before the start of the season, they
Yeah,
asked Anthony Edwards, "What is your ambition this year?" Considering that the Timberwolves made the playoffs last year, he said he wants to go deep in the playoffs. And then he paused and stopped and said, "You know what? Wherever the Golden State Warriors get to in the playoffs, I want to go there and meet them." And they asked him why. He says, only because I want to face Draymond Green because he talks a lot of BS. So a lot of bad blood had stewed. But I want to know, as the last born of the house, which I believe Klay Thompson is definitely acting like right now, for some reason, he is no longer the good boy of the NBA. You know,
yes, yes.
since his performances dipped, he has tried to pull out his villainous tendencies. Unfortunately, he's always pulling it out in situations where he is overmatched. Um, but I want to always believe that if I have that the supporter, the enforcer, the heart and soul of my squad has my back, should I get into any skirmish. Now, how Draymond acted was uncalled for because it did not warrant. You see, you choked him, you pulled him out, you could have let go, but he held
Yeah,
that choke as if he had the person.
yeah. Like
So,
he was a
so
wrestling match.
he channeled his inner Undertaker right there. So his reputation definitely preceded him for the punishment. I actually thought he would get as high as a 10-game suspension. So
Yeah, that's what I
five was probably just right because not only is he losing those games or missing those games, he's not going to get the game checks. So when you add all that to it, he's going to roughly lose close to $3 million total. And some people never make up to $3 million in their entire career. So Draymond wasn't wrong for sticking up for Clay, but the way he went about it, his proclivity for violence, because we have seen him kick people in the below. Let's put a more. He has kicked people below before. LeBron James was a victim of that before. He has stomped on people. He has a tendency to be violent, so people should know that. However, I mean, it's not as bad as what my man who changed his name 3 or 4 times. And I'm doing my best to remember his name now. The young man who played for the Lakers and won 2 rings with Kobe. Uh, I can't
Mac.
rem- I can't remember his name now. He was also an enforcer who jumped. If you know that Rumble in the Palace or the Malice in the Palace that happened, and he jumped and kicked a fan, similar to what uh, uh, um, Eric Cantona did. So we've had enforcers. We've seen players. Let's not forget that in the days of the bad boys of the bad boy piston, 86 to 89, they were literally killing people on the field. Let's put it that way. We know how many cuts and bruises Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and even the great Michael Jordan had, simply because the sport was physical and the referee allowed them to be physical. So I know it's a contact sport. I also know that I want my enforcer to be there for me. But sometimes you just need to know when to push people away instead of grabbing them and trying to kill them. But a funny thing, this will forever be associated or be seen in the same light as the Allen Iverson step over Ty Lue, the famous step over that everybody knows Allen Iverson for. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know it was the current LA Clippers coach that Allen walked over like that. So that's one. Number two, the way Rudy Gobert himself has what he has said I just found it very lame. Him saying, well, every time Steph Curry is not on the pitch,
It's not available. Yeah.
Draymond finds a way to not be on the court as well. I think it's lame. Stand up for yourself. I take it like a man. Oh yes, I was embarrassed. I know it doesn't look good for me
For
because I'm
someone
taller than him.
for someone that tall.
Because I'm taller than him, I'm a French guy. This is not the greatest look for me, but let's laugh
Yeah.
over it. You know, you can. There's a
Yeah.
way you say things, people will not
Yeah.
remember it, but the way he has also reacted means
I
that
get you.
that look will forever be a meme.
Yeah. Anyway, just to correct myself, this is Draymond Green's 18th ejection in his
18th.
since he started his career, and for this, he's going to be forfeiting $769,970 in salary
Yeah.
because of this 5 match suspension. Anyways, from there we'll move to the guys that Kachi already gave us his word. They said, "Calm down, people. These guys will come around. Calm down. No pressure. No pressure." And they show that no pressure with the way the Bucks are handling their business right now.
Mhm.
Even without Giannis, they handle their biz great against talent on it, and did pretty solid.
Mhm.
Malik Beasley hitting a seven pointer in that. The Manila doing a five as well, 5 3 pointers as well.
Yeah.
Cruising home, I think, with 27 points, if I'm not mistaken, in the game. Everybody played their own parts. And Kati, I know we spoke about this behind the scenes. There are 2 matches I'm looking forward to in the NBA right now. Two
Mhm.
games: the Milwaukee Bucks
Mhm.
versus the Nuggets. Like I said, the Nuggets with Nikola Jokic, uh, for me, almost unbeatable, unless it's not in the right element. Even without Giannis, the Bucks can still do a whole lot of damage, you know. And like we said, they lost Drew Holiday, who probably is the best defender in the NBA right
Mhm.
now,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You could argue that.
and
You could
and
argue
and,
that.
and the Bucks against the Celtics as well. That would be a major one as well. What do you think of those 2 games? And how do you feel about the Bucks right now? As we went gradually into the interesting part of the season, because it gets more interesting. It doesn't
Oh
get more
yeah.
interesting.
Uh, First things first, I think the NBA should try and flex the schedule. I know one thing they try to do is release the Christmas Day schedule so that we can all see it and plan our holidays around it.
Around
But
it.
I think the time has come for them to flex it, to make it flexible, to say, okay, based on the storylines that has been building,
Hmm.
maybe we change the matchup. Because as it is right now, the Warriors face the Nuggets on December 25. The Bucks are playing at the Garden against the Knicks on that same day, which is not a
Uh,
game I want to see. We have the perennial Celtic Lakers also playing on that day. So all I'm saying is right now, I think the NBA should flex these schedules and bring
yeah,
these marquee games that you have said to us.
yeah,
But while we hope and pray that that happens, even though I don't think the NBA is always very rigid when it comes to this scheduling issue. I think we have to give kudos to Yanis, first of all, from the jump, coming out to say, hey, ball handling right now is 100% Damian Lillard. It is not my job to handle the ball. Because if he's handling and he's in rhythm and he's hitting his shots, it frees up the posts for Yanis to post up, get all the offensive and defensive rebounds, and still get
yeah.
his double double, triple double. If Yanni is very hot in the post and they are trying to clog the paint, it's going to free up the perimeter for Brook Lopez, for
Yeah,
Peyton, Bobby Portis, and for Dame
Otis.
to get their shots in. So the mark of a good team, I believe, is the short time it takes you to finally understand the proclivities, the tendencies of your teammates. I'll put it this way. Well, because I'm a career person and you both are, and I believe most of our listeners are, the expectation to start to provide value is different for an executive trainee or a graduate trainee. The expectation is much different than from someone who is coming or joining a company with 5 to 15 years work experience in that field or industry. For the former, they probably give you a year, 2 years to finally start rolling and becoming independent. For the latter, you have 3 months at the very tops. So in 3 months, even if you don't know everything about that company, you need to start showing or start
Yeah.
providing value. So we always knew that there would be a bedding period for the Bucks. Because I mean, they shared ball handling responsibilities when Drew Holiday was there. Giannis could bring the ball up the court, even though we know he's not a point guard. Drew used to do it, Chris used to do it. Now everybody responsibly allowing them, when he's on the court, be responsible for the point guard duties is going to take a rewiring of their mindset. That why he's not a ball hog? It's because he's the best ball distributor in your team right now, who can create his own shots, who can also create shots for you. We saw it happen with the Heat. We saw the Nets struggle to have that chemistry, which is why they disintegrated. We saw that at the early stage in the Clippers, even though it looks like things are changing now. But it will always happen. But I'm so happy that it's taking just about 15 games. I said give them 20 games. It looks like it's taking 15 games. I still believe that there will be hiccups, situations when they go on 2-3 games losing streak, which they hardly do to their credit. But what happens when they have back-to-back? I'm not talking of play today, rest tomorrow, play next tomorrow. They are going to have days where they will play 2 games back-to-back, and those 2 games will be away from Wisconsin. What happens? So when it happens, then we'll get to see. But I think they are mature enough. Giannis is humble enough to give that responsibility to him. Giannis wants another ring, and sometimes you're in pursuit of greatness. You are willing to sacrifice, which was what Dwayne Wade did. He needed a second ring. He knew it was time to give that team to LeBron. But beyond that, he had to tell LeBron, hey, stop trying to please the public. This is your team. Make it work. And Giannis is doing that for them right now, and we're seeing the result. I like it.
All right, perfect. And of course, LaMelo Ball was asked to cover the tattoo on his neck. For crying out loud, for Pete's sake, it's just LF. I don't know how.
It's his middle name. It's the initial of his middle name too, La France.
Yeah, so I don't understand how. Whatever. I don't know what Adam Steves or whatever his name is.
Silver.
Silver. I don't know what he's thinking. Making on the board or whoever is in charge, making a big deal out of that. But of course, Zach LaVine is being touted to move to the Lakers. Looks like I've forgotten his name right now. From one split second, the guy that went from Heat to the Lakers. He has been injured or lost. It's not.
Yeah, the Nigerian boy.
No. I think it's Spanish or something.
He has Nigeria. He represented Nigeria. I just can't remember his name. He shoots the three. Vincent, yes. Gabe Vincent, yeah. He played for D Tigers. Gabe Vincent played for D Tigers in the past. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that. He's not working out right now as planned. He's on a 33 million 4-year contract, if I'm not mistaken. So they could be looking at bringing Zach LaVine to the Lakers. Zach LaVine is on a huge contract with the Lakers. I said the Lakers with the Bulls for 126 million 4-year contract. But it's going to be a great addition to the team. A very great addition to the team, especially when you don't know the kind of AD that will turn up. And I was watching AD's post-match game after their win against Portland. And it was like, LeBron scored 35 points. He had 8 rebounds, and I think 10 assists. And I'm like, for Pete's sakes, how is LeBron still doing this?
How is he still the best player in that team?
Yeah. And to make matter worse, AD said, LeBron came out to bail us again. I'm like, yo, why are you talking about LeBron bailing you guys out? And you have the effort to say that.
Oh,
Are you kidding me right now? Like LeBron is bailing you guys out at
wow.
40 years old? Come on. And LeBron needs to be taken to. We need to check if LeBron is actually human.
Yeah, he has to go to the lab. I'm also now of that opinion. But it's a testament to how he has treated his game. He has loved the game
But
back as much as the
don't
game has
forget the
loved him.
question. The question is if
Yes,
LeBron goes to the Lakers.
if Zach moves to the Lakers, the person that benefits the most out of this is Anthony Davis.
Definitely.
That let's just call it what it is. Anthony is almost a 7 footer who doesn't want to play center. That's why the Lakers had to bring in two other centers right now. Can't remember their name, so please pardon me. I know Rui Hachimura is one of them, but there's one other person. He wants to play power forward. Zach plays either as a small or power forward. So the first person that will benefit because of the up and down nature of Anthony Davis's Lakers career, where he posts a very great game today and he can't
Yeah.
replicate that performance in the very next game. Zach becomes a third option or a fourth option, whatever you want to call it, that takes the load off AD. And also because the Lakers have now, players have proven that if you come to the Lakers struggling and you have a good year or couple of years, teams would come for you and give you your deal. We thought our man fumbled the bag, but he's right now enjoying his bag as a world champion in
Yeah.
Toronto right now. So hey, I'm rooting for you, man. Dennis, you're in our country. We definitely love you right now. But I have to tell you, you did fumble that bag that time. But good to see that you're recovering your career. But the Lakers have also shown that they are no longer the cemetery that they used to be in the last 5 years of Kobe's career, where people go to Lakers to just go and be Kobe's manservant and get the ball to Kobe to shoot, whether he makes it or he doesn't. So that being said, the single biggest beneficiary will definitely be AD. The second will be LeBron, definitely. Because like I said, Zach plays either of those positions, as a small forward or as a power forward. So if it's LeBron's minute they really want to limit to keep him fresh for the playoffs or playing or whatever it is, then someone needs to come. He can't be playing 35 minutes at age 40. He's going to be 40 in 5 weeks. He cannot be doing that. AD has shown that he can't pick up the slack. Someone definitely is needed. I think Zach is good. He has presence. He has poise. He shoots up close to 40-45% field goal percentage, which is good enough to play in the Lakers team. So it will be a good deal, but I still don't know how they pull it off because I think he still has about 96 million or so left in his current contract. I can't remember, maybe 96 or 66.
Yeah, 126 million he has done just 1 year out of it.
1 year. So about roughly about 95, 96 million left. That may push the Lakers over the luxury tax to the luxury tax bracket. Maybe he's not the player to do that for. If they do that, who gets to leave? Who becomes a two-way player? Because they must always have 15. So it's a lot of numbers to crunch. Rob Pelinka is a smart guy. Zach also knows that the Lakers will remain competitive. Maybe he is the person they need to push them over the hump and get their 19th banner. But a good move if it happens, 100%.
Oh yeah, that's not gonna happen. Not unless the Celtics just take themselves out of the equation. Like
The Celtics still have to navigate the East. That's what a lot of people are not worried. Right now, everybody just needs to beat the Nuggets. There's no other consistent East-Western team. But we have so many powerhouses in the East. The Bucks, the Heat will pick up heat very soon.
Like Ja Morant said, I'm fine in the West. The Celtics
they should be fine in the East.
They should be fine in the East.
We'll see.
Because realistically, bar the Bucks and 76ers, I don't see anybody in the East. That's my
it's a three-team conference right now. It's the Bucks.
But the West is more competitive. The West is more
No,
competitive.
because they are all evenly matched. We can't call though. It's the Nuggets. Then
Yeah,
it's about six other teams that are evenly matched right now.
that's
They all have weaknesses they can
that's what
explore
makes it
rather.
more difficult to
No, no,
play.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no, no. The reason I say this is why
okay.
the reason I say so is this.
Yeah,
By the time those guys are navigating each other, doing all those things they're going to do, they're good. Let's not forget that the I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. The Western Eastern Conference was waiting for the Western Conference. The
hmm,
two teams that played in the Eastern Conference final navigated their opponents in four. The Celtics swept.
yeah,
They
yeah, yeah,
swept the Nets. Then
yeah.
they handled. Can't remember the other team. They had the Heat. They handled the Heat. The
Yeah.
Bucks. So I'm pretty much saying the West they would cancel each other out, such that by the time they get to Denver, Denver will just pick them apart because they've all played 7 games in the first and second rounds. So it's easier. The
Yeah.
East, most times they will kill their opponents off in 5 games, maybe sweep sometimes. It is rare to find a Western team get swept the way the
Yeah,
Lakers
yeah.
got swept
I
last.
understand where you're coming from now. I understand where you're coming from. Anyways, and of course, Novak Djokovic won the seventh ATP title, the most in the history of ATP. It's just breaking all the records that is there to be broken. We all know who our goals are, depending on what side of the fence you sit on. But
Yeah.
congratulations to Novak. Um, Navigating the young Karasakaras in the semifinals is straight set and defeating Yannick Sinner as well in the
Mhm.
final. I think that's the best and that's the wrap of the show for today. Thank you very much for everybody that kept watching us. And you can find us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, of course, to be on our Band Radio Scope, and of course on Quiz.tv, on Amazon TV. And till we see you again next week. My name is Elijah Adeboale, and this is Oraku Kachi, the man with the wand. Bye, guys.